Hey, look what we have found. A big sound in a small town. Far away from the bright lights. They're making music every night. Discover what is all around. A big sound. A big sound. In a small town. Big sound, small town. A really big sound. Big sound, small town.
You're listening to Big Sound Small Town with Sandy Carlton.
All right.
Okay, we're good to go.
Okay. Well, let's get started here. My name is Andy Eversole. I'm a banjo player in North Carolina, and I have a project called Banjo Earth that takes me around the world, traveling with my banjo to collaborate with folk musicians and all kinds of musicians around the world. We go on adventures, explore the culture, and definitely explore the music. And each country I go to, I make an album, a documentary, and that's what I love to do with my life, travel around the world, play music, and meet all kinds of amazing people.
That is pretty cool. Now tell me about how this came to fruition.
Let's see. Well, I first started traveling when I was in college. I was at Guilford College in Greensboro, North Carolina, and I did a study abroad semester in China. And that, so I spent 5 months there and really deep dived into a culture, and that sort of sparked the idea that that's what I wanted to do later on in life, was go to different countries and immerse myself in the culture and learn about their music and their stories and their culture. And so it didn't actually come about until about I was 34 or 35 when I finally sat down and came up with the idea to create Banjo Earth. Uh-huh. And how I did that was I made like a pie chart. What do they call these things? You make the circles.
Sure, yeah, pie chart.
And
yeah.
in the middle is where it all meets, you know?
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of that. But, yeah, so on one, I had what I'm really good at. So I love to make music, and what I love to do is travel and something that would be good for the world. Those were my circles. And in the middle was Banjo Earth. That was my idea to make music, to travel the world, and to have a project that was meaningful in a way that it brought people together and shared other cultures around the world and inspired people to, get out and make their own adventures and create their own spirit projects.
Did you have a banjo when you went to China that first time?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I did. I started playing banjo when I was about 15. I got one for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
From Santa Claus.
Yeah.
And my mom, I think, co-conspired to bring me a banjo. And it was not a very good one. It was, pretty bad one, actually.
Sure, yeah.
But I got started playing on that, and then when I went to China, I was about 21. I took that banjo with me, and I actually I left it there in China. I gave it to my pipa teacher.
Ah.
Pipa is like a Chinese instrument
Sure.
that sort of sounds like the banjo.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing instrument. So I took pipa lessons and got a pipa there. And then I gave my banjo to my pipa teacher. So I left the banjo there and I brought the pipa home with me.
That is pretty cool. That is really cool, actually.
So that banjo is still probably around China somewhere doing something.
That is really cool. The pipa, do you play that these days?
No, I don't. It's very difficult to play, because the technique is a finger style, but the fingers go out. Like on a banjo, the two fingers come up,
right,
and the thumb goes down,
right.
And on a pipa, the two fingers go out and the thumb goes out, so it's opposite.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
that's pretty difficult.
Instrument though, but it's mainly just sitting in the closet.
Well, I mean, I would think it would take a lot of, particularly since you have a banjo roll background to that would be completely opposite. To take a lot of muscle memory. I mean, you'd have to practice that a lot.
Yeah, you have to practice a lot, and there's some very detailed techniques that go with playing it. People who play the pipa in China spend their whole life playing it, basically, and
sure.
So it's really a cool instrument.
I mean, the same could be said for banjo too. I mean, I mean, it is not the easiest of instruments to play. So there's a lot of similarity there I could see.
I think it depends on how you play the banjo. Like, definitely the bluegrass rolls and stuff, the right hand on that can take years to really develop a decent technique. But as far, like with claw hammer and just kind of strumming, you can start playing songs immediately. That's what I did when I first got a banjo. I had a little book, and I remember playing strumming Bald and Cabbage Down.
Oh, yeah.
And that was the first song in the book, and it had strumming patterns, and so that was the first song I ever played on the banjo. So with the banjo, it's cool. You can start making music immediately.
This is true. And the basic fingering patterns aren't that difficult for a beginner.
Yeah. I mean, you don't have to make any chords to make a G chord.
True.
Yeah, so that's pretty good start there.
Yeah, it is. It's so basically, I guess that at some point did you move to like clawhammer before you moved to say Scruggs style?
No, I got started like interested in music. Just had a guitar. My brother had a guitar laying around. So I learned a few songs on guitar, like Ripple from the Grateful Dead, Redemption Song by Bob Marley.
Yeah.
Those were my first couple songs. And then I got a banjo for Christmas, as I said, but I was already interested. I was listening to a lot of Bela Fleck. And old, like my first taste of banjo was really old style bluegrass from this album called Appalachian Stomp.
Oh, yeah.
It was like one of the early compilation albums, so it had Stanley Brothers on there, Doug Diller, Scruggs. I mean, it had, a really good taste of classic bluegrass, and that's what got me turned on initially. And then I started listening to more Bela Fleck and Tony Trischka, and that's when I got the banjo and started really diving in deeper.
Ah, okay. Did you start playing in bands fairly quickly in your life?
Yeah, because my brother played music too, so he played or still plays mandolin and violin and some guitar, and so we started jamming pretty early on, and then so I started playing when I was 16, and I think we started having gigs when I was around 17 or 18.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, that's really cool.
Yeah, we got jumped in quick, and all through college, I played gigs and went to festivals, and like I learned a lot at Merle Fest and Galax Fillers Convention. Just walking around and just jumping into jams with everyone. So that's really how I, got going.
So you didn't start out with a teacher. You taught yourself?
So I went to the Music Barn here in Greensboro. Dave Osborne was there.
Right.
And he got me started on the Earl Scruggs book. So he sold me an Earl Scruggs book, and I started learning from that and listening to all the Earl's records. And then about a couple years in, I started taking lessons from J.B. Prince.
Sure.
He's a well-known fiddler, just sort of a genius musician. He's not with us anymore, but my brother also took fiddle lessons from him, and I took banjo lessons, and he taught us a lot of the same songs, so we were able to really develop a style out of that.
Sure.
And great teacher, so I learned a lot. We went over Scruggs recordings like note by note, so we really got detailed on that stuff.
Well, that Scruggs book, I don't know how many banjo players that I've talked with over the years, but so many of them got their basic bluegrass learning from that book.
Yeah.
I mean...
Yeah, it's the Bluegrass Banjo Bible.
I would think it is. And then, of course, with banjo, everyone at some point needs a teacher. And with most instruments, that's also the case, but a lot of people never do. And You can tell when people get lessons. Everyone needs lessons. I mean, it's just a faster road to advancement, I think.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I mean, it could be anything, any craft at all. If you can find someone who's already at a higher level than you,
sure,
and you can, pay them money or spend time with them or do any other kind of trade to get that knowledge and wisdom, it definitely speeds up your advancement. And not only just the techniques and stuff, but the perspective on music. Sure. Like one thing I learned from J.B. Prince a lot was taste in music.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Taste in banjo playing and, like really understanding the melody of the music and trying to really find the melody with banjo playing rather than like just playing a bunch of licks put together. And that sort of thing, just looking at music in that way really helped me become more musical in general.
Yeah, when I see young people, people ask me stuff, I will tell you, one of the things I say, particularly in bluegrass, is, if John Cowan can take vocal lessons, then do you need another real reason to take one? I mean,
yeah.
I use that for them because you can always learn more than what you know.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how talented you are. The right teacher can help you,
sure,
harness that talent and that energy and put it in a very constructive and powerful place. Like, I mean, even, Michael Jordan and
sure,
Kobe Bryant in basketball would have coaches.
Sure, they do. And,
yeah, so.
And I've always personally been one to want to play with people who are better than me. It's like I always had this joke about if I'm not the worst one in the band, I'm playing in the wrong band probably.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's the same sort of idea. If you're not the dumbest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's a great philosophy towards everything.
It is.
Finding people who are better than you and being confident enough to not be self-conscious about that.
Well, I do think you have to get yourself to a level where you can do that. I mean, you may be the worst there, but you're still fairly accomplished.
Yeah, and to have that humility to just always be open and learning. Like, I love to learn, so.
Oh, I do too.
I never want to stop learning. I'm always learning something. You got to, be confident enough to put yourself in those situations where you're a beginner.
Yeah, you do.
And that's how you keep learning.
Sure. Now, how hard has it been to put together your Banjo Earth project? I mean, you get an idea, but then you have to actually make it happen. I mean, traveling to different countries in itself is a problem. So how do you make all that work in a musical term?
Well, the initial sort of problem to overcome is funding, because it's very expensive to travel to other countries and get places to stay and pay a musician and build the whole thing. That takes some money. So my initial Banjo Earth journey was I went back to China.
Right.
In 2016 was my first one. And so I did a Kickstarter for that.
Okay.
Because I've been playing a lot of years and, built some sort of a fan base. And
right.
I had a lot of very generous people who really helped me get that first one started.
Right.
And so that helped me get going. And then since then, I've just tried to continually build an audience, and I'll do sort of pre-orders before I go. And people will kind of help contribute to the project, and then I'll give them the CD and the shirt and some other, maybe I'll pick up some souvenirs along the way and give to them. And so that's sort of the thing. And it's just been building since then. And then I, save a lot of my own money and use that to fund my travels as well. So that's a big piece of it is the financial part. And then the musical part, when I decide that I'm going to a certain country, then I'll just start really diving into folk music.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, I'm going to Mexico in November for the next project.
Did you just come back from Mexico also?
Yeah, I went to Mexico in January, but I was just actually like just traveling there and finishing.
Okay.
I wrote a book about Tantra.
Right.
So I was there finishing my book, and it's also like doing some groundwork.
Sure.
You know, preparing for the real banjo work journey there. I'll find musicians and like visit a few different places and get the vibe and find out where I want to go and meet some people. And so that's all part of the process too, is just networking with people and musicians and things. And so like now when I go back, my girlfriend lives there now, so I'm going to stay with her most of the time. Cool. And I've met several musicians that are amazing. I've learned some Spanish, and I've learned 4 or 5 great like Mexican folk tunes. And I've also written already a couple in Spanish. So when I go there, I've got a really good head start on the music and the culture. And so I do the same thing with each country. Whenever I decide to go to a country, I really just start diving deep into their music, learn some songs, start following some people online, and start trying to make some connections. That's not
a whole lot. Do you know Casey Dreesen?
Yeah.
It's not a whole lot different. I mean, your way is not a whole lot different than his. Which both are very cool projects. I mean, they really are. And then there's I know the guys from the Hen House Prowlers, but theirs is a lot through the State Department, which is probably totally different type of mission than yours is.
Yeah, I've come across that program, and it's sort of like ambassador.
Yeah,
program.
Exactly.
I think people like bands they'll set up a tour.
Sure.
And you'll kind of go as a tour and do an ambassador program, and that sounds awesome. Actually, that would be a great like addition, I think, to what I do. Usually, the scope of my project is I'll go like for a month or two to a country. I like to go maybe 2 months.
Right.
If I haven't ever been there, like I went to Brazil for 2 months. And the first month I just settled in, learned some Portuguese, started going out in Rio de Janeiro, learning some music, meeting people. And then my videographer would travel over there for like a week or 10 days. And I would batch all of the jam sessions.
Oh, yeah.
And the special sort of touristy things, like we went to the Jesus in Rio de Janeiro and those things, so when he's there, we really go hard for a week or 10 days and video as much as we can, record as much music, and then the rest of the time I'm just filming on my own and going on my own adventures, and so it all comes together at the end as an album and documentary.
Dude, I guess you do share American music with them too, right? I mean,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I love to show some bluegrass tunes. A lot of times on my albums, there's 2 or 3 old folk tunes, old bluegrass tunes that we do in kind of a world setting.
Right. Yeah.
And then I really love to just hand people the banjo.
Oh yeah.
Play it, because most people I come across have never seen one, much less played one. So I love, like, when I meet a guitar player or some other musician, I just give them the banjo and let them make some sounds, and that's always a really cool experience.
Yeah, I do understand that. The first time I encountered a sitar, it's it's one of those deals like, wow, this is totally different, but totally cool,
Yeah, that's an amazing instrument. I've always loved the sound of the sitar since I was young. Like, I've got several Ravi Shankar records.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, when I went to India, I played with several amazing sitar players, and I also played some. And, it's such a cool sound.
It is. It's a very complicated instrument also.
Yeah.
I mean, it is. I mean, sometimes guitar seems fairly easy compared to other world instruments.
Yeah, absolutely. Some of these have like 20, 30 strings. Like the guzheng in China has like 12 bridges that you move around, and it changes how you play. So I love taking the banjo and just playing with some of the masters of these instruments.
Sure, that's great. Yeah.
Like in India, I played with some sitar masters, and in China, I played with an amazing guzheng player that, like, we played a Grateful Dead song.
Yeah,
And it's just so fun for me to explore those realms of music.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, it is funny how I know several musicians who have gone to India. You know Andy Pond, I guess.
Yeah, I know Andy.
So Andy was telling me about his trip there. Of course, he went with Future Man, I think.
Oh, cool.
So
that'd be wild.
Oh, he said the first time wasn't so cool, but
oh, really?
He said they couldn't find anyone to play with.
Man, I've had trouble with that in India too. It's a different culture with music, like, because music there is religious. It's more religious. So, most of the music you'll find will be traditional music, like in a park kind of setting in the middle of the day.
Right.
Like, there's not a lot of places you can go at night and find live music. So that was definitely a challenge.
Yeah, he said it was. He said they got there. Future Man thought it would be just fairly easy to find music because he had found it in other places, and that the first trip was almost a disaster.
Lucky I was there for a month, so I got to spend some time with some people, and they took me to other musicians. So that was India is different in that sense.
Yeah. What of the countries you've traveled to? I'm guessing China is still your biggest. Is that your favorite? Musically.
Well, I haven't been there since 2015, and like China changes so fast, and especially with COVID, the way things were there. Like,
sure.
I mean, I don't know. They just now opened back up.
Yeah, they
friends
did.
there that I follow on Facebook and Instagram, and I have a friend, this girl that lives in Shanghai, and she just now in the last month or two started going out to music festivals and stuff.
Sure.
So, I love China. It's an amazing culture, and the food is incredible. I had a great time in Brazil.
Yeah.
This was also before COVID, so just the culture there is just wide open, like dancing and singing and the tropical. Like, I've always been pulled to the rainforest.
Yeah.
Love the Amazon rainforest, but Brazilian music and just the way people dance and have fun, the culture, and they're super friendly. Like, that was amazing. And the beaches there, I really love Brazil. And then this past year, 2022, I went to Peru. And so that's a very, like, sort of spiritual culture.
Sure.
It's colder there than I expected because, I mean, it's down in South America, so I thought it'd be kind of hot in Brazil. But it's, a lot of it's in the mountains, so the Andean mountains. You see people wearing, like those really colorful hoodies and everything. But they have some very cool music there, too. A lot of flutes and different instruments. And that's just a very mystical culture, and I really love that kind of stuff too. So I found a lot of space in there to explore.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I also know a guy, Finn McGill. You know Finn by any chance?
Yeah, I know Finn.
I think Brazil. He told me Brazil changed his life. He enjoyed it so much.
Yeah, I think he met a Brazilian girl, married her.
I think he did.
Learned a lot of Brazilian music, and he's still, like, I think I bought his last album.
Yeah.
Of Brazilian music. Yeah.
Right. And that is some,
cool.
It's very cool and very complicated.
Well, that music, samba and choro.
Yeah,
like,
choro. Yeah,
chorinho. Like, that stuff is just, the vibe of it. It's a great combination of, like, African rhythms.
Yeah.
Like polyrhythms and all kinds of things that just make you want to dance. And then it's got that, like, kind of complicated harmonic and melodic structure.
Sure it does.
And the combination of those two things, it's like super cool jazz with amazing danceable rhythms.
Yeah, true.
And you go out and see a live show of that in Brazil while people are dancing and sweating and eating acai and drinking beer. And
sure.
it's tempting to just want to stay there forever.
Yeah, and you know, it's funny when you get strange meters to music in America, people can't dance to it.
Yeah.
And I mean the timing of Brazilian music is almost foreign to Americans.
Yeah, it's like on a different. I mean, we're just on the 1-2, and that's like they were amazed at me that I was like, what is the basic clap?
Right.
And I had a friend there. She was just like amazed that didn't make sense to me, being a musician and everything.
Right.
Because all of our music is based on like the 2 and the 4.
Sure,
you know?
it is.
But that's what I love, to travel and learn these things.
Sure.
And let them into my blood system. Like I remember when I first got to Brazil, for like the first week, I was just going out and hearing music, and then I woke up in the nighttime in my Airbnb, and the fan was going above my bed, and it was like in a samba rhythm.
That's crazy.
And I was like, that's when I knew that like, it was getting into my head, because everything around me was like happening in samba rhythm.
Right.
You know? And those are the kind of things that I just really love.
That is, you know, I knew this interview was going to be interesting because I followed your stuff for a pretty good while, always with a bit of envy, because you really just dive into the culture as opposed to just going and playing music.
Yeah.
And
I love the culture, man. That's and I like to go stay for a good period of time. That way you get to really understand, you get to really feel it. You meet some people and form relationships.
Sure.
And you get some of the stories. Like I think of a lot of times as a storyteller. And so, when you go travel to a country for a few days or a week, you can't really experience the depth of that culture, So I really love to go stay for a while and really dive in. Yeah. Thank you for noticing that,
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've always felt in America in itself that you need to go to a city and stay a while before you really understand. You need to go live in New Orleans a little bit as opposed to just passing through to understand what all is going on there.
Yeah.
And there's other music places that are that way also, but you need to be there and live there and understand what living there is about as opposed to passing through.
Yeah. I totally agree.
It's a great philosophy. I mean, I applaud you for that. And because there's so many, factions to music that are beyond the notes that are played that I think go over people's heads so often, and they just miss that music is the life of wherever you're at. I mean,
that is one of the things that really spurred me to create this project, is because I came to the understanding that each culture, each country has its own sound.
Yeah.
Like, because I grew up listening to Ravi Shankar, like I said, and other world musics, and as soon as you hear some Chinese music, where that music is from.
True.
And it just has the whole culture and history and everything in every part of it. And so that has always fascinated me, and I love to explore that.
Yeah.
America is like that too. I mean, you can travel around America, and it's like a bunch of countries in and of itself, you know. And that's one thing that I'm sort of been thinking about recently and been excited about exploring, is sort of a Banjo Earth America.
Yeah.
Where I just hit the road for a long time and go to each state or something and play some music from each place. One
of the things I think is kind of a very small microcosm of that is where you were talking about Galax. Galax incorporates everything about that genre of music that you do not get anywhere else except when you go there. I mean, they play it other places, but it's absorbed in like the time you're there is it's a lifestyle, Right.
Yeah. It's amazing. And it's also like so regional, an outsider would hear one band playing and another band playing and be like, that's all like just hillbilly music.
Sure,
You know? It
yeah,
sounds
right.
cool, but it's like all sounds the same.
Right.
But if you really get in, like, this is from Carroll County
Sure.
style of fiddling,
yeah.
and this is, from Mount Airy
Mount
style
Airy
of
style,
fiddling,
yeah.
So
Round
there's
pig style
there's
and
a
all,
whole
yeah.
A whole subculture there that's very fascinating.
Oh, it is, particularly when you start talking fiddling, it is just totally regional. Is so different.
Yeah.
Same tune, but it's played a different way, maybe even called a different name.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, exactly. That's super cool. I love Galax. Like, I haven't been in a while.
I haven't either.
Because I've been doing other things, but that's definitely where I found the magic of music.
Sure. I mean, it's I'm currently I have some musical dealings with a girl who is at Belmont in Nashville, being a performance music major, but I've been trying to tell her that she needs to go to Galax. She needs to. I mean, I've hooked her up playing with a ton of different styles of music, but then you need to go there and be a part of that culture just so you can understand it a little better than, we can sit here and play Tommy Gerald songs, but it is not the same.
Yeah. No, every musician, I mean, even if you don't even play bluegrass or old time, every musician should go to Galax.
Yeah, they should.
Like,
Yeah.
required reading, just like you have to go at least like Bruce Hornsby would go there often. I don't know if he still does, but he'd just chill and hang out and play a little bit, and it's just it's that collection of incredible musicians I've never seen anywhere else.
Oh, I agree. It's cool. It is really cool. But there are places like that around America. However, it's here and we know a little more about it. Going to a whole different country and learning everything about the music as much as you can absorb and the culture is really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's fascinating. And one of the coolest things about it is I can never exhaust that resource. Like,
sure.
I could never go to every country and like really immerse myself into every culture, I want to do as much as I possibly can before I die, but it's like something you can never master or never finish. It's just a never-ending journey.
Yeah, that's really cool though. I mean, so many people's journey is very regional.
Yeah.
Even if they travel a lot, it's different than living in the culture.
Yeah. And I love to go to places that are not like my culture, like places that don't speak English,
sure.
Places I'm uncomfortable, places that sometimes could be dangerous. Like, a lot of people, like my mom especially.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Doesn't like it when I go to Mexico or Brazil or,
Yeah.
But that's what I've chosen to do. And so far, it's always worked out amazing. I feel like I've got some like banjo earth angels kind of looking out for me because it always works out wonderfully well. I meet amazing people, and a lot of it is, I think, my energy, my intentions to go share, and there's like nothing nefarious about it. And it's also, I think the banjo maybe has some sort of magical quality that, kind of disarms people.
I think there's a truth to that. David Holt told me that when he came to the Appalachian Mountains to kind of start his journey, people wouldn't talk to him until he pulled his banjo out. And he said it changed everybody's attitude. You're not from here. I don't really want to talk to you. Oh, you got a banjo.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, let's talk.
Let's talk. Yeah. I mean, that's what, and he said that is one of the things that, that was a great eye opener for him because he realized the power of the banjo.
Yeah. And it gave him a little bit of hillbilly street cred.
It did. There he was from San Francisco, and he was like, by way of Texas, but all of a sudden, he was like, oh yeah, it's cool, man. I'm in places where people don't get to go, which I'm sure you are all the time when you're in your travels.
Oh yeah, I've been to some incredible places. Think of Kashmir in northern India, which is a very disputed
it is.
land, and it's like gorgeous. I mean, amazingly beautiful, full of natural resources. And the Kashmiri people live there. They're sort of like tall. They look different than most Indians.
Right.
So they're kind of their own people and culture, but China, India, and Pakistan are all sort of fighting over this land.
Yeah, they are.
And so not many people can get there, but I was lucky to have a mutual friend with like a sort of a high level Kashmiri businessman. And he got us there, took care of us. We always had people kind of like leading us around, so we weren't able to really go out on our own.
Sure, yeah.
It sort of felt like a little bit like house arrest in a way, but like it's so hard for people to get there. And yeah, just to see that place and play music there and experience it, like it's something special. Most people will never ever experience that.
I agree. It's a wonderful thing. And the other part of your mission is sharing that. I can't go there. I can't go to Kashmir, but you can, and you can share that with me.
Right?
You can share that with more people than. I mean, it's hard to explain the number of people you can reach who would enjoy that, but never get the chance to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's with the internet now, you can share with billions of people the things that are going on, and that's one of the things that really keeps me going and doing that is to share that and inspire people, to get out into the world, because as people watch the news all the time, we're just like, it's just full of fear and stress and anxiety, and nobody wants to. They kind of want you to be scared of your neighbors and the world and stuff. So, one of the things that I really try to do is to show people that it's amazing out there in the world, and not to be scared to get out and get lost down a street somewhere, or you got to be careful some places and be aware and check with people, places you don't want to go. If a local tells you not to go to a certain neighborhood, you shouldn't go.
Right.
You just take their word for it. And those are the kinds of things that you should do. But like most, in the world, I've been fascinated time and time again that these cities work, like New Delhi and all these cities can wake up every day, millions of people go to work, go do their job, food, and try to make a living to take care of their family.
Sure.
And that's basically what people are doing all around the world every day.
True. This is true.
And I try to show that and share that and show that we can all be like, that we're all humans and we can connect on that level. And what I found is the music is for me, the language that helps us connect and meet on that very human level.
Sure. It's a universal language without a doubt.
Yeah.
Are you fluent in Chinese?
I used to be very good in Chinese, but haven't so much anymore. I'm kind of right now like working on Spanish a little bit.
Sure.
I have my girlfriend lives in Mexico City, and we text in Spanish.
Oh, that's cool.
And then we speak in English.
Oh, okay.
So I'm picking up words and phrases and sentences, and it's pretty good, but not great.
Yeah.
I think if I went back to China for a couple of weeks or a month, all of it would kind of come back.
Right.
I think it's in there somewhere in my subconscious.
Yeah, it probably is. It's my Spanish over the years. It depends on who I'm around. I've spent a lot of soccer years, so there's a lot of. I've refereed a lot of Spanish leagues, Latino leagues over the years. So
okay, cool, yeah.
Yeah,
you've heard all the cuss words
in every language, Portuguese also. Yeah, French. I got those down. I can call you some bad names in just about every nation in the world. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
But they all learn one word, no matter where it is, sooner or later. It's a total American word, and no matter where you go, at some point, the people in that culture learn that word. You know, you might.
It's one of our greatest exports.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. It's a shame that it is, but it is. Yeah. So what do you have going on currently?
Well, right now I am. I've got a show tonight downtown Greensboro. Like solo, I've been doing a lot of solo gigs.
Right.
I play guitar and banjo, and I'm kind of learning how to do some looping things, and I'm working more into electronic music, like making beats and doing keyboards and things. And then I have a band. I either do duo, trio, or quartet usually.
Yeah.
So we have a gig tomorrow night as a band. And kind of doing those things. And I'm getting back into banjo work, North Carolina, which I started like in 2019, right before I went to Brazil. I didn't have time to finish it before I went to Brazil.
Right.
And then I went to Brazil and came back, and then we had, the world shut down for 2 years or so. And so now I'm going back into that this summer. I'm going to travel around North Carolina, tell some of the stories I was working on. I've got an album's worth of new music to finish recording and put out, and then start gearing up and get ready to go to Mexico in late October and November to do the next Banjo Earth project.
Yeah, I didn't want people to miss the fact that you do actually also still play out live. I mean, that is one of the things that I think sometimes gets lost on people who have the project that you have. I think they forget that also you play in different formations with different people here.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I mean, music's a huge part of my life. It's also a big part of my income. So I try to but right now I'm really trying to just stay local, play local shows, save some money, create like videos. Like it takes a lot of time to edit videos.
Yeah, it does.
Record music, and so that takes a lot of time. I'm also like working as I'm a hypnotist in the daytime, helping people like quit smoking, lose weight, and I just wrote a book on Tantra. So
I saw that too.
I'm teaching a course on Tantra and helping people with there. So I do those things, and then after about midway through the day, I start really getting into the music and practicing and setting up shows and creating videos and all kinds of things like that.
I think you played with a buddy of mine not too long ago, Mark Schimick.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mark's one of my oldest bluegrass buddies for sure. I met him when I first started playing Billy Constable.
Sure. Yeah.
So we've been bluegrass buddies since the beginning. Like 1998 is probably when I met Mark.
And Mark was up doing the podcast, I think, and maybe it was in the wintertime that he was supposed to come do something with you, and maybe it got snowed out, or not snowed out, but things changed maybe.
What, this past year?
Yeah, this past year.
Yeah, I'm sure. I don't know. Like we missed some gigs here and there.
Yeah. Well,
Mark and I have had some crazy snow stories though. Actually, we got snowed in one time in a bad storm in Greensboro, and wrote several songs, and hung out inside the house for a few days, and made fires and played music. So
I will tell you,
go way back.
I will tell you that Mark loves music. Mark will drive a long way to play music.
Yeah, that's what he does. That's his thing. He loves being on the road.
He does.
Loves going playing shows. He loves performing music for people and playing songs. So
he does. He's
he lives and breathes it.
He does. I know a ton of musicians, and he's one of the ones I will tell you that will. I love the spirit. He's not letting. He won't take his hand off the pedal of music at all.
Yeah.
That's
for sure. He probably knows more songs than anybody.
Probably does, yeah. Yeah, he does.
He's like a living, walking jukebox.
Yeah, he is. He really is. So tell people how they can find your stuff. I know you have websites and...
Yeah, I've got a website. AndyEversole.com has most of my stuff on it, like, my store, my email list, and my links. And then banjowork.com, I just kind of got it back going. I used to have all my blogs on it, and it kept getting hacked, so I had to kind of restart that.
I do understand that, yeah.
And I'm going to start putting up blogs there, banjowork.com. And YouTube is a place where I've been very active posting all my videos there. So that's Banjo Earth on YouTube, and Banjo Earth on Instagram, Banjo Earth on Facebook.
There you go.
And all those social media places. But YouTube is probably like kind of my favorite spot right now, just to make videos. I post a lot of little short videos playing, and post some travel videos and some vlogs, some of my adventures, like doing plant ceremonies in Peru and things like that. So
video is a strong medium. It really is.
Yeah, video's amazing. You can really tell a story there, especially with the music. And
sure.
I love to tell stories, so it's such a cool medium to do that with.
Well, I love to collect stories, so there you go. I'm as bad with stories. I love stories. Well,
I guess that's one of the reasons you started this podcast.
It is.
You love to talk to people and hear stories and tell stories, and that's amazing.
Yeah, it is. It's been a wonderful thing. We talked the pandemic. The pandemic actually exploded my podcast because people had time to listen.
Yeah.
I knew a lot of musicians, and I just thought people needed to know more than what they know about musicians. They don't know, they see you on stage, they see you in a video, but they really don't know that much about your life. And, it's a chance to have a conversation, not just you and I, but, you're having it with, if it stands to reason, several thousand people, unbeknown to you, you will be having this conversation with several thousand people. So
yeah, I think it's super cool what you're doing.
Thank you.
I love talking, having conversations, and I like your approach to not have really, too many specific questions, but kind of just have a conversation and go where the conversation leads. And those are my favorite things to do.
Sure. I mean, it's having been a musician all my life, it helps to understand about music a little bit, and I like people and I like stories, so there you go.
Yeah, that's perfect. You're in the right place then, aren't you?
It's a fun thing. Yeah, I'm a lucky guy. And I've learned that musicians are basically, for the most part, pretty cool.
Yeah.
I have a short list of nasty people I've encountered in the music business that wasn't in management.
Right.
So.
Yeah, musicians are basically artists.
They are.
And most artists are deep down cool people because they've chosen their work to be something that's not day to day, like too predictable.
Sure.
So you have to sort of be a little bit adventurous, a little bit what some people would call crazy.
Yeah, I bet.
So there's some quirky.
There is,
things,
yeah. Yeah.
But deep down, most musicians that I've met, also are good people.
They are. They're fun to be around. They're easy to have conversation with, and so many of them are pretty humorous people. There's a lot of laughter in music that people really. Musicians a lot of times are almost comedians.
Yeah, for sure. It's a very similar art, and it overlaps a lot. Like the only time I've actually met a musician that I didn't like was I met this guitar player in China. He was like from Europe or something, and I told him I played the banjo. He said, "I hate the banjo," and I was like, "I don't need that kind of negativity in my life."
Yeah.
We didn't. The conversation sort of died after that.
Yeah. Well, he's European. It's not a big European instrument that is shown much love.
I felt offended at first. I was like, man, everybody's got have their opinion. And the banjo the banjo is sort of one of those instruments that is polarizing. Like, people seem to either love it or hate it. There's not a lot of just in between with it.
I'm sure you've heard all the banjo jokes, you know. I mean,
yeah, I've heard a lot of them. Maybe not all of them, but
they're
pretty funny. You gotta be able to laugh at yourself.
Sure, you do.
If you play the banjo.
Well, sometimes not very well, but I can play the accordion too. So that's one of those things that you always hear the two best sounds in the world.
Yeah.
Accordion falling on a banjo in a dumpster, you know. So
yeah, that's right.
You know, so I don't know. It's hard for me to. I'm pretty open-minded when it comes to musical instruments. I'm good with just about any of them and music styles too. I can find something I like in just about any genre of music or any musical instrument.
Yeah.
Xylophone might push me a bit, but you know.
Right. Well, I mean, it's all just sound at the basic level. So, like, just the fact that humans have developed these different ways of making sound that are pleasing to the ear. Like some of the Chinese folk music, like opera, Chinese opera music, I mean, to the outside listener sounds like, pots crashing.
Yeah.
It sounds like a fight in the kitchen.
Right.
But to like Chinese who are enjoying that, it's magical. It's pleasing.
Sure.
So the fact that we've developed all these different tools to make sounds in certain formations is really incredible. And when I go see like a old museum or something, like I was in Mexico and seeing some prehistoric flutes and different things, and it just always reminds me of just how amazing it is that humans have developed these tools and this form of art called music.
Sure. Well, do you know Woody Wood?
Yeah, I know Woody.
Okay, Woody. Woody almost convinced me that everything in the world is a vibration.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not a real stretch after you think about it a bit,
Well, on one level, it definitely is. I mean, science will tell you that everything is vibrating.
Sure.
Everything is moving when you break it down to electrons and protons and things. So everything is giving off a certain vibration.
Sure. And and basically he says the world, pushing that a step farther is just a musical place. That's just, the world is made up of music. So.
Yeah. In the beginning was the sound.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not one to argue that.
Yeah, I mean, science tells that that's true too, and I think the mystics and the spiritual disciplines of the world have also known that. So, I mean,
sure,
that seems to be just a deep human understanding in our DNA, how sound works, how vibration works, and how we relate to it.
Yeah, but try telling that to non-musicians that aren't scientists. They look at you like, yeah, right. So
yeah, I find that a lot. Like, so I'm wrote a Tantra book, and I'm working with Tantra students and stuff right now, and a lot of that is energetically based knowledge coming from the East, India, and China.
Right.
And so people tend to comprehend it, to understand it, because they understand when they're having like blockages in their thoughts or their mind or their body, like how a lot of these things, and I think it's becoming more and more popular, more accepted that a lot of this stuff is energetic. So
sure. Yeah, actually,
a lot of people are sort of waking up to that reality right now.
Yeah, talk about that a little bit. I mean, how did that come about for you?
Well, I've been a hypnotist. I got licensed since 2012, and then so I've been helping. I've been a licensed hypnotherapist since then, and along that path, I just started understanding that actual reality of energy and how it works, and
sure,
came across Tantra and people's your sexual energy.
Right.
Your sexual energy is one of the most powerful sources of energy we have. That's how our species thrives, how it continues. I mean, people will do the most amazing things to attract a sexual partner or any of these things. So Tantra is really learning how to take this sexual energy that comes to us constantly from the universe and use it in a constructive manner to better your health, to transmute it in ways like creativity, playing music, or creating whatever sort of things you do, putting it into your work, into your relationships. And so it's really the art of harnessing that energy and transmuting it in a healthy and positive way.
That is really cool. Can people reach out to you with this too?
Yeah, just AndyEversole.com has all my links to all my stuff. So,
all right.
That book is called The Tantric Male.
Yeah, I wanted you to plug that. Yeah.
And so I have the tantricmale.com, and it's also on Amazon. You can find it there.
Okay.
That's my first book. So I love to write. So I'm going to find more things to write about and make more books because I enjoy that.
Yeah. Now, I love to read. So, and I love to write too. I write a lot also. So I think people do not learn to write too much anymore. Well, I'm not certain they read much anymore either, but
well, writing is such a great way to organize your thinking. You know,
it is.
It's just a great discipline to have. Like, part of what I try to do now is just wake up and just write something that's constructive and valuable and helpful to people, even if it's a short blog or just a few paragraphs or even a couple sentences. So it helps you just organize your thoughts and communicate them in a valuable way to other people.
I agree. It's served many purposes for me in life, more than just expression. I think sometimes it has been very therapeutic for me.
Yeah.
It's and pleasure. I mean, I still write for no other reason than to write at a pretty late age in my life, and it's still, sometimes I wonder why I still do it because I have no real alternative purpose for it other than doing it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's like taking a walk or
it is.
Painting a picture. A lot of times it's just for you to enjoy the process of doing something like that. Yeah,
and at some point, if someone reads it and can take something away from it, it's an extra bonus.
But, I think maybe something cool you could do would be like, do you have a blog or something?
I do.
Yeah. I mean, like the way you like to talk, tell stories, and have conversations, like that's kind of cool to be able to take some of those stories and thoughts and write about them and publish them on your blog. What's your blog?
See, I'm getting ready to, I am getting ready to put those in a book, actually.
Okay, awesome. Yeah,
so,
very cool.
Yeah, so, I have too many projects. Also, one of the things, and one of the best parts about coming and doing this, and it might be something you can do sitting right where you're at, I don't know, but I've had a lot of people come and do it here at the Scruggs Center and play music. I'm also putting that together as the best of the people that's come to play. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It's in Shelby. The Scruggs Center is there in Shelby.
Yeah, yes, it is. It's pretty cool little museum. They are at this point having a Sonny Terry exhibit going on, and
awesome.
I'm a harmonica player, probably a harmonica geek, but I am going to be a part next Saturday of a tribute to him, talking about his harmonica playing and actually playing his music with a partner of mine, Sonny Terry Brownie McGee type tribute thing. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
it's
that's awesome.
So that is pretty cool. You have a banjo sitting handy?
Yeah, I've got like 3 pretty close by.
You want to play something?
Yeah, I can play something.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah. Let me grab one here.
Okay.
All right. Let's see how it shows up on this mic.
All right.
Because this mic is pretty close to my ears. It's in my headphones. So, can you hear that?
Yes, I can.
Okay, cool. This is my this is a 1926 TB3,
Oh, yeah.
which used to be, I guess, tenor banjo.
Right.
I just got it back from John Bolding, who set it up, so it sounded pretty good. So let's see. A little, You Don't Know My Mind. I've been playing that some today.
Yeah.
Honey, you don't know my mind. I'm lost all the time. Going to lose a drifter, that's me. You can talk all so long, better and impossible. Baby, you don't know my mind today. Been a hobo and a tramp, my soul's done been stamped. Things I know I've learned hard. And if I came in, I'll be stepping out of here. Baby, you don't know my mind today. Now you don't know my mind, I'm losing all the time. Things I know I've learned hard. When I finally came in, I'll be stepping out of here. Baby, you don't know my mind today.
Hey, that's really cool, and I really love that song. That is one of...
All right. Hey, a little Jimmy Martin.
Yeah, I just... I love some Jimmy Martin. I always have.
Yeah, Jimmy's one of the best.
Yeah, Jimmy. Jimmy's an individual, too.
Yeah. I think I don't know if I think I read a book about him or something.
Yeah.
Just heard all the stories and the self-proclaimed king of bluegrass.
Sure. And rightly so at the time. I could see, I could see where he could make a claim.
One of my favorite stories is he would drive that what do they call those like really long cars?
Oh, yeah.
Limousine.
Limousine, yeah.
Yeah, he had a limousine, had a King of Bluegrass sticker on the back, and I heard in the book it said he had like a bunch of old chicken boxes like in the back seat, just like fast food chicken boxes.
Yeah.
And he'd always talk in third person, like, old Jimmy, he only drinks Seagram 7.
Right, yeah.
So I started talking like that for a little while after reading the book.
Yeah, I think the times that I've seen him, he liked to talk. He liked to be Jimmy. Yeah.
Incredible songs, music,
Sure.
and just the drive, and all those banjo players that went through his band.
Yeah.
Bill Emerson, J.D. Crowe.
Sure.
They all turned into some of the legends. So,
They did.
Yeah,
They really did.
special.
Well, I do appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule. I know you're a busy man. And I hope we can get together in person sometime.
Yeah, I would love that, Sandy. Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it. I really enjoyed the conversation, and wish you all the best with all your projects.
Oh, I will keep up with all your projects. I live vicariously through you.
Awesome. Yeah, well, I'd love to share, and hopefully we'll get year.
Sure, that'd be really cool. If you're anywhere near the area, just hit me up.
All right, I certainly will.
All right, take care.
All right, talk to you later.
All right, bye.
Bye.